Hi everyone, welcome back to Almost Normal. I'm very excited to be here with you today. I have so much stuff to talk about, but I'm going to hone in on one specific thing today because it's been on my mind a lot. And I feel like it's been on a lot of other people's minds, specifically because summer's coming, and summer is a time where we got to throw away the big sweaters. We got to throw away the sweatsuits, even though I was literally wearing a sweatsuit right before I signed on here. So maybe not 100%, but I'm just saying, like, the bikinis get introduced into day-to-day activities. The shirts get smaller, the shorts get smaller. Our toes are out, flip-flops are in. Ugg boots kind of have to go, even though, again, I literally wore Ugg boots this morning and it was the stupidest idea I've had. I was so hot. And I am not someone who regulates their temperature very well. I'm always overheating. So why I left the house in 80-degree weather in a full sweatsuit and Ugg boots, I'll never know. I was not comfortable. Let's just say I was not comfortable. But anyway, summer is usually a time where we're showing a little bit more skin, okay? Because we want to be comfortable. We don't want to be hot. We don't want to be suffering, sweating in a full tracksuit and Ugg boots. We don't want that, okay? We want to feel free, we want to feel happy, we want to feel cool, and that's just that. That's just how summer is. Unfortunately, a lot of the time, when the clothes get smaller, the insecurities start to get bigger and bigger because we're forced to look at ourselves in a way that we haven't had to in a while, you know? We've been able to hide behind baggy outfits and things like that. Pool parties aren't happening. Beach days aren't happening, you know? There's a lot of like ways in which we can just sort of hide from ourselves a lot. And summer is that time where it's harder to. It's much harder to. Even if we aren't ourselves wearing little itty bitty teeny bikinis, other people are, and we're seeing them. And we're seeing them on Instagram, we're seeing them on TikTok, we're seeing them in person. And it's almost impossible to, in this day and age, I feel, it's almost impossible to go out and see people that have something that you want and not feel a certain type of way about that and not feel angry and jealous. It's hard. It's really hard. And like, you can do as much work as possible. And honestly, the work helps. The like mental work does help. But there's always going to be a day where you see someone who has a body that you want, or, you know, a face that looks like the way you want your face to look or whatever. And you're going to start feeling feelings, you know, you're going to start feeling like, what the fuck? Why don't I look like that? What have I done? Maybe I should have gone to more workout classes. Should I be spending $500 at Sephora to get my makeup to look like that? Like, there's going to be thoughts like that all the time. And recently, I have been obsessing over my appearance. Obsessing. Like, first thing I think of when I wake up, last thing I think of when I go to bed, okay? And I could blame it on the summer. I could. I've just opened this and I'm like not using it. You know, one of my pet peeves, one of my pet peeves, just quick side note, is when you're at dinner with someone, and this shouldn't bother me and I don't know why it does, but when you're at dinner with someone and someone like puts food on their fork in order to eat it, and then they have a full conversation with you, like holding the fork with the food on it, and I'm just like, just eat it. Eat the food, and then we can continue the conversation in a second. Like, please. I don't know why that bothers me. I think I got that from my mom, because I kind of specifically remember my mom being like, just put the food in the mouth. So I think I've adopted that from her, actually. I should let that go, because I don't want to. Anyway, let me just put this on. Oh, this is amazing. This is so good. Yeah. Anyway, I have been feeling very insecure recently, and I could definitely blame that on the summer coming. There's a lot of things I could blame it on, but, you know, I'm thinking, oh, it's because it's warm out and I'm wearing smaller clothes and I'm seeing my belly and I'm walking down the street and I'm looking in every store window to look at my reflection and I'm pinpointing little things that I don't like about myself. My skin is breaking out in a way that I have not broken out in such a long time. I have acne. I have makeup on now, but I have acne all up this side of my cheek and my chin. Weirdly, I get acne on one side of my face. This is like a common occurrence and it's always usually this side. And before we speculate, I sleep on this side of my face. I sleep on the clear side of my face. So I don't know what's going on. Someone said, because I made a TikTok about it, someone said that the sun coming from your car window can give you acne, and it's obviously only on one side of your face, and that was one suggestion as to why it's only on one side of my face. In my head, in my like crazy head, I'm like, this side of my body is failing, this side is fine, this side is failing, and they are not communicating with each other. Like I'm two different people like cut in half and stuck together. Anyway, my skin is breaking out, okay? I hate to wear a full face of makeup on a beautiful sunny day. I just don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I get even more self-conscious because then I feel like sticky and icky. I just don't like it. But then now I have all these spots on my face, all this redness. I have a little rosacea. And, I'm starting to put my insecurities of how I look into future plans. And I'm future tripping about future plans that don't exist yet. And I'm like, okay, so let's say if this person has this party, maybe that day I can wear my hair down, and hopefully by then the acne will only be on the backside of my face. And so if I wear my hair down, no one will see it, and then I don't have to wear makeup. Or maybe by that time, I'll find this really, really great sunscreen that also covers up all my skin and it won't make me feel uncomfortable. Okay, now maybe I should spend a day at Sephora and try and figure out like all these different products. Maybe I don't know the right products. And I'm like future tripping about a pool party that doesn't exist yet. And I'm spending my days today being like, how am I gonna do this without feeling uncomfortable? How am I going to go to this non-existent beach day with my friends and not feel uncomfortable? And I'm spending my time now trying to figure that out. And it's like, we don't have to figure this out now, okay? We probably don't have to figure these things out at all. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares if you have acne on your face. And I'm going to say that again because it is so true. Nobody cares if you have acne on your face, okay? I say this in the nicest way possible, but human beings are extremely selfish creatures, okay? And I'm saying from experience, being a human being, like, I think about myself all the time, obviously. I mean, this whole fucking episode is literally about how obsessed I am with myself. I'm like trying to make plans that don't exist yet and trying to like figure out like how I'm gonna be the most beautiful person at this party without making myself like I am obsessed with myself. And that gets me into very dangerous places. But I'm just gonna tell you this, like, most human beings are like this. Most human beings are like this. And it's no fault of our own, We have been programmed to think that what we look like, how we represent ourselves is the most important thing. And people will only want to hire us and people will only want to be our friends if we look a certain way. And the things that are inside of us, our character traits, our personality, the things we like, the things we hate, all of that stuff, none of that actually matters because if you don't look a certain way, who cares, okay? No one's going to give you the time of day anyway. And this just is not true. But society needs us to believe this because they need to sell us things, first and foremost, okay? The beauty industry is basically run on the insecurities of mostly women. If women didn't have any insecurities, we wouldn't want to go and buy makeup to cover up our faces. Like, that is just the truth of it all. If women weren't insecure, we wouldn't want to get our lips bigger. We wouldn't want to get our boobs done. And before I get into this further, I want to say that I support any woman who wants to change anything about themselves. If they want to wear makeup, if they want to get their boobs done, if they want to get their lips done to make themselves feel better, do it. I am 100% pro that. But I'm just saying, like, the thoughts behind that wouldn't exist if we just felt fully accepting of ourselves. It wouldn't. And the industries, the beauty industries, all of that, cosmetic industries, medical industries, they need us to feel like we need to make changes in order to be accepted in society. Your looks and how you are outside is literally the least important thing about you, okay? Your appearance is the least important thing about you. Because human beings are so complex. Human beings are incredibly complex, okay? This here is just a vessel. This here is a vessel in order for us to be able to walk in life and experience things. But that's pretty much biologically all it is, okay? I have put my looks and what people see initially on the top of my priority list, okay? And when I do that, I stop thinking about anything else and I obsess about the way I look, which is what's been going on recently. I obsess. I am not thinking about anything else except for how I look, okay? The last few weeks, and I kid you not, the last few weeks I have been like negatively obsessing about my fucking eyebrows. Like, I have been spending precious time on this planet thinking about my eyebrows, thinking about how my eyebrows should look and whether I've been doing my eyebrows wrong for years and starting to regret some eyebrow decisions that I've made previously in life and starting to wish that I could just go back in time and tell myself that my eyebrows don't look good there. And then coming back to the present and being like, but do they look good now? And like thinking so much about my eyebrows. About my eyebrows, Rita. No one cares about your fucking eyebrows except for yourself. Okay? No one cares. Nobody cares about your eyebrows. No one cares about your eyebrows, okay? And I'm literally spending precious time on this planet thinking about my eyebrows. And not just thinking about it, obsessing, getting actually sad. Because I went on a date with a boy years ago, and maybe he would have liked me more if my eyebrows looked different. Like, genuinely just getting deep and existential about my fucking eyebrows. We can't do this. This is completely taking me out of the present. It's not letting me live my life properly. Okay, I need to stop. I need to get a reality check so fast. I actually did. And that is kind of where this podcast episode is going. I swear to God, I'm not just complaining. I have solution, a little bit of solution. Maybe not solution, but I just, whatever. You can figure out what it is after. But yeah, I have just, neglecting my happiness, neglecting the people around me, because I, think that the way I look is literally the most important thing in the world. It's not. I just want to say, like, when my friends come over, if I'm having a bad day and my friends come over, the first thing I think about is not what the outfit is. The first thing I think about is not whether they're wearing makeup. The first thing I think about is not how their hair looks, okay? The first thing I think about is, thank fuck my fucking friends are here so we can talk and vent together and have a girly night together, okay? That is the first thing I think about. And that's kind of the only thing I think about. Maybe if they're wearing a cute top, I'm like, oh shit, I like your top, like later. But even then, I'm not thinking about the way that they're representing themselves. I'm just fucking thrilled and excited and happy that I get to spend time with people I love. That is it. And I think every single other person has the same reaction when they see their friends, okay? When I see my friends, not the first thing I think of is not, look how skinny she looks. It isn't. It's just not. And so it's interesting that I feel like that's how people see me, or the first thing they notice about me is how I look. But it's like, I don't feel the same about other people I love. So why would the people I love think the same about me? Do you know what I mean? I'm just not giving the energy to myself that I give to other people. And I think that's the problem. But anyway, I need to bring myself back to the present. I needed a harsh reality check. I, every Saturday, go to this meeting, an AA meeting, an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. And it is my routine. I wake up in the morning early to get there. I have coffee with people before so we can catch up. Then I go to this meeting. And this meeting is quite a large meeting, okay? It's a large Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. And every week, if no one's ever been to an AA meeting, I don't know, how many people watching this have ever been, but typically the format is one alcoholic, not a professional, not someone who's hired, not someone who is paid, but just someone else in the room, just like me or anyone else, is chosen to speak, is asked, hey, can you share your story? Can you say how it used to be, what happened, and what it's like now? Okay, and that's the format. And this person sits in the front of the room and talks for 10 to 20 minutes about their life, how AA has affected their life, all of that. Usually when I get to the meeting, I stand outside and I chat with people. But last week was an exceptionally hot day. And so I decided to go and sit inside and stay in the shade. And there weren't that many people waiting inside. They were all outside in the sun. But for some reason, I was just like, fuck, man, I need to sit down, like not in this like beaming heat. So I sat down, was on my phone. I look up and the girl that picks the people to share, I can see her walking up to me and I'm like, holy fuck. She then is like, hey, Rita, would you be able to lead the meeting today? Can you share your story today? And I was like, please, why today? I'm so tired. Okay, I think I was specifically very, very tired that day. Not that I'm not always tired on a Saturday morning at 9 a.m., but like, I think that day, because I sat down, I think the reason was I was like, man, I'm fucking exhausted. Of course, that's the day I got asked to pick. You only get to share once a year. And this just happened to be the day that I was asked to share, which is kind of bananas. It was also a day I was feeling very self-conscious, very in my own head, just very obsessional about myself. I feel like I just wanted to hide away because usually I do stand outside, I do talk to people. And I remember this day just being like, fuck, man, I don't even want to be here. I don't want to be with people. I'm just thinking so much about myself. Like, there's all these things that I need to do. Like, why am I here? I got to go to Sephora and get this new eyebrow kit. And I got to like go to Pilates and like get my like abs together. It's summer coming. Like, I remember just like overthinking everything about myself. And that is a big reason as to why I was just sitting alone inside the building. And then, of course, this girl's like, hey, can you share? And I'm like, holy fuck. Like, the one thing about AA is that if someone asks me to do something, I'm not going to say no. Even if every ounce of my being wants to be like, no, not today. Next week, maybe I'll do it. I will always say yes. Okay. If someone needs a ride, I will say yes. If someone needs to call me, I will say yes. If someone wants me to lead, I will say yes. Okay. Because that is the thing that keeps me sober. I really need it. I need to be out of my comfort zone. The best thing for me when I am being obsessional is being pushed out of my comfort zone. Okay. And that is why AA is such an amazing thing, because I hold AA very high up in my sort of priorities. And so I can say no to a lot of stuff. I could just say, I don't want to do it. I can't be bothered, blah, 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 blah. But I'm starting to set real boundaries for myself. And one of those big boundaries that I'm trying to live by is if someone in this program asks me to do something, then I'm going to say yes. Okay. Because essentially, you're always helping someone else. Okay. And that's really important. Like, I feel like there's a fulfillment inside of me when I help other people that I can't get from anywhere else. And it sounds super selfish, but to help other people helps me so much. And so I know that when it comes to Alcoholics Anonymous, there's a lot of stuff that they ask you to do that makes me feel very uncomfortable. Like calling people I don't know, that's a huge thing because it's all about, community and making people feel like they're not alone and stuff, which I have needed time and time again during, my sobriety. And so I know how important it is. And so when someone needs me to do it for someone else, like I just have to do it. I just have to do it. And that's like one of those boundaries I've put in place for myself. And now if someone asks me to do something and I say no, I get this like aching inside. I get this sort of very uncomfortable feeling inside. And that is just because it's become habit. And, when you start breaking habit, things start to feel uncomfortable. So anyway, that is something I treasure about this community. And, I think whether you're an addict or not, I just feel like, and I feel like I've said this before, I just feel like some sort of communal sort of conversation gathering where people are there for each other. And it's a place where you can just talk to like-minded people and there's just no judgment. I just feel like everyone on this planet should have that, okay? I just feel like so many people would benefit from that. And I just think it shouldn't just be exclusively to alcoholics or people who have addiction problems. I feel like everyone should have one. It's just amazing. You can just sit in a room with people who all feel the same way. and just talk. And no one is going to judge you because everyone just feels what you feel. You know, you can say anything and there'll be no judgment. And it's kind of amazing and it's very freeing. I know at my school, I go to Cal Arts, and I know at my school there used to be something called consciousness raising, which was when women sat in a room and sort of just literally just spoke about being a woman. That was it, you know, and the feelings they have, the fears, the experiences, and just I always heard how incredible, you know, the feedback was, because a lot of the time you can feel like you're so alone as a woman, as someone with mental illness, as someone who's an addict. Like, you can feel so alone due to so many little aspects of who you are as a person. And those are just the three that I have personal experience in. Being a man in this society, like, I'm sure it would be very beneficial for men to be put in a room and everyone can say like, hey, like, you guys just want to like talk about your feelings, like no judgment whatsoever, you know? I think when you vocalize a personal feeling that you think is like a unique experience, and then you hear other people say, oh, I feel the same way, or I've had that same exact experience, I know exactly how you feel. That is just such an empowering, freeing moment that I just think everyone should enjoy. And that's kind of like what AA is to me. I just feel like, you know, when I'm in my head, when I'm like, hey, I'm obsessing about my eyebrows today, like someone in that room is going to be like, babe, me too. That is so crazy. And then you just feel less alone. Okay. And you can sort of just realize how silly it sounds and laugh about it. And it just like lets this stress go and it's amazing. But anyway. What am I saying? Okay, so yeah, she asked me to share. And so I'm like, fuck, man. Like, okay, fine. Yeah, sure. And I like rolled out of fucking bed, you know, acne on full blast, hair greasy as fuck. Like, don't even think I showered. I think I just brushed my teeth and left the house. Just one of those days. And just feeling like a grimy slime ball. Just like, oh, I hate how annoying I am about myself. I know that's how I was feeling that day. So anyway, I was like, yeah, sure. Fuck, man. Okay. I got up and I went and sat in this chair that has, I think, about at least 50 chairs looking back at me. Okay. You are sitting in front of at least 50 people. What's 100 eyes on you? I was just a brain fart. I was like, what's 50 times 2? Okay. All right. Time to go back to school. I think 100 eyes on you, basically. 100 eyes on you. And so I sat in that chair and people started to come in, started to arrive. It was like 2 minutes till the meeting started. And I was just like, holy hell, like, what have I got myself into? My friends would come in and be like, oh my God, you're there. And I'd be like, no, please, just don't acknowledge that I'm here. Okay, just don't acknowledge that I'm here. People were like, yay, I'm so excited. I'm like, don't be excited. This is going to be a shit show. Don't be excited. Like, I haven't even had a coffee today. Don't be excited. And the meeting started, and obviously I was like shitting bricks. But I started to talk, and public speaking is not exactly my thing, you know, especially when it comes to something as important to me as AA, because I know that I've sat in those meetings and I've been like, wow, I really heard something important today and it's like helped me. And so to be in the position where I'm the person who should be saying something important to help someone else is like very scary. So honestly, public speaking in general, I'm fine with. That specific type of public speaking, when I'm speaking to other alcoholics and addicts, that scares the absolute Christ out of me, because I'm just like, yo, like, what if I say something wrong? What if I say something wrong? Like, that is consequence. There are consequences to that. So I was feeling very anxious. And I went through the whole script. There's like a little script that you say first. And then I started to talk about my life. And I started to share my story a bit. And I started to talk about how my life used to be before I got sober, and how fucking messy and chaotic and horrible it was. And I, you know, went on and on about the mess I got myself into, you know, the pain I was in, how scared I was. And I said my whole story. And then I went into how I feel now and how I am now as a human being. You know, before I was very selfish. I was just wanted me to be happy. It was me. I didn't care about anyone else. And now it's like hugely important to me to make the people around me feel comfortable and happy as well. The first thing I want to say about this is vocalizing that, I was talking to these people, but I was also sort of talking to myself. And what I noticed is I like myself much more now. I like myself much more now as a human being. And I haven't changed the way I look that much. Okay, maybe I've gained a little bit of weight or something. Maybe my eyebrows do look a little different. But at the end of the day, like, I'm the same person. I look pretty much exactly the same as I did before, But I like myself so much better. So how can that be? If I look pretty much exactly the same, how can I like myself so much better? And that's because the things I like about myself are all internal. There's nothing on the external of me that I'm loving more. It's all the internal things that I've changed about myself, my characteristics, my interests, who I am as a person, how I treat people around me, how I treat the people I love. Those are the things that I like about myself now that I did not like about myself before. Nothing has to do with anything. None of it has anything to do with how I look. None of it. So first of all, doesn't that seem interesting? Doesn't that seem interesting? Because I hated myself before. And now, when I'm having good days, I have days where I feel pretty good about myself. What can I say? And usually those are when I'm feeling very fulfilled and I'm really looking at my personality and not my appearance. So that was the first thing. The second thing was I finished my little speech. I literally feel like I black out sometimes when I do public speaking. I just completely forget everything I've said. I'm like, holy shit, what did I just say? I might have just been swearing the whole time. I don't remember. My nerves get the best of me and I just kind of have a wall in front of my eyes and I just speak. Sometimes it feels like word vomit a little bit. I don't remember always what I say. And so, the meeting ended and I was like, holy hell, are people going to come up to me and be like, what the fuck was that? Don't ever speak ever again. Please, I never want to hear you ruined my day. I was panicking. Anywho, I got up. I walked to the front of the door because that's where you go for people to say thank you for your share. And I was waiting for people to be like, hey girl, great share. Maybe put a little makeup on next time. Or ooh, those acne spots are grossing me out, girl. Ooh, I couldn't look at your face while you shared. Or maybe, a little perfume next time, a little smelly. I was not 100% expecting people to say any of that, but I wasn't thinking that it wouldn't happen. I was like, I look pretty gross. I didn't even also people have to hug me. I literally felt like people didn't even want to hug me. I was so down on myself. Everyone who came up to me mentioned nothing about the way I look. Every single person hugged me longer than I thought that they wanted to, or at all, and thanked me for being open and sharing my story. And the only thing I was ever met with was love and acceptance. And not one person said a thing about the way I look, the way I smell, my weight, anything, not even on a compliment. And that was what was really important. If people were like, hey, I love your makeup today, or lack thereof, I would be like, okay, we're still talking about appearance, da 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 da. Not a single person said anything about any of the things that I was self-conscious about. Not a single person. Okay? The only thing people were saying was thank you for making them feel like they weren't alone and making them feel like there are other people in the world that experience the same things as they do. Did I say that right? The only thing people said to me was thank you for sharing my experience and for making them feel less alone. That was it. Okay? Not one person said anything about my greasy hair. Unbrushed greasy hair at that. No one said a thing. No one said anything about the fact that I wasn't wearing makeup. No one said anything about my weight. No one said anything about, how I didn't smell like my perfume because I kind of forgot to this morning. I just rushed out the door. No one said anything of that. No one said anything like that. Literally not a single person. Everyone hugged me. Okay. And I was feeling gross, like someone that people didn't want to hug. Anyway, in that moment or a little after, because initially I was like, when you do something scary and you're all buzzy. Initially I felt that. But once I got back to my car and I started driving home, I really, really started to have this moment where I was like, literally no one gives a fuck about what I look like. Okay. If I'm a nice person and I make people feel comfortable
and people relate to me and people want to be my friend and people understand me, that's all that matters. Literally no one cares about what I look like at all, okay? No one. I could look like I crawled from the depths of hell, and I don't think a single person would fucking mention anything, okay? No one would like my share any more or less if I had done like full glam and worn a ball gown, okay? Nobody. No one was concentrating on that at all. Not a single person. And there I was in my head the whole time before being like, oh my God, I shouldn't even be on this planet. I'm so disgusting and ugly. Like, fuck. And not appreciating all these amazing people around me and not being like, I'm so fucking lucky I get to sit here with women and just talk. And it's just so amazing. I wasn't thinking about that. I wasn't being grateful for that. I wasn't being grateful for this beautiful sunny day. I left that meeting and I realized that the sun was out actually. Like I literally was like, oh my God, what a beautiful day. Like before I was like, oh, fuck this weather. I'm so hot. Like it's making my skin break out even worse. I feel sweaty. I can't wear makeup. It's like, ugh. And then I left the meeting and I was like, oh my God, what a gorgeous day. What a beautiful day. I'm going to wear a sundress today. What the heck? It's like, I needed that change of perspective. I needed to be reminded that people see me for like who I am and not what I look like. And I like genuinely needed a reminder of that because I was starting to forget. And of course, like I'm just thrown into the deep end with that. I'm just like put in front of 50 women who like need a message. And I'm just like, okay, I guess like this is the really big like reality check I needed. I was asking for maybe something a little bit smaller, but I guess I'll just take this. I literally needed to be reminded that no one cares. No one cares if I'm a size extra small. No one. No one cares if I have clear skin. They probably didn't even notice. No one cares that I have greasy hair. Literally, I don't think a single person thought that. Nobody cares. I just needed that reality check. And it's made me feel lighter. And I'm always going to go back to being obsessed with my appearance because that's just how society has set things up for us. But I think it's really important to have reminders that it's nowhere near as important as society is making it out to be, okay? Like, and it's hard to forget. I mean, it's hard to forget. It's easy to forget that. Easy to forget that. It's easy to forget what life is really all about. So easy. And, a few days before that, I had gone out to a couple things and, there was like a screening for a movie and I just kind of wore sweatpants and I didn't think anyone was going to be there. And I remember I had to get a photo taken, like when you go through the airport, to identify myself in case I like do something bad. And I remember being like, oh my, I like vocalizing this in front of people, being like, I look so disgusting right now. Oh my God. Like I needed people to understand that I know I look ugly. You know what I mean? Like I needed people to know that I'm aware that I don't look good today. And everyone was just like, what the fuck is this girl saying? Like, no one cares. Like, okay, all right. It was like I needed people to know, like, I know how I look. And like, no one actually cared at all or noticed or was thinking about me at all, okay? Because I also wasn't the attention of that night. Like I wasn't the big thing of the night. The movie was. We were going to see a movie. Like nobody came here to see like what Rita's wearing. I don't know. I think it's so wonderful to like put a little makeup on, dress yourself up, wear a cute outfit, feel cute for the day. But I think that if we put those things on the top of our priority list, we will never look as good or wear a cute enough outfit to make us feel fulfilled. Like we're always going to feel like something needs to be different. And we could spend hours and hours in front of the mirror and hours picking out the outfit. But if that is like on the top of the priority list, like we're never going to be satisfied. We're never going to be fulfilled. Like it's cute to look cute. It's fun. It's fun to do your makeup. It's fun to wear a cute outfit, but it can't be at the top. It has to be like, oh, I feel this. I love this person. I'm around this person. Also, I look cute, like it has to be in that sort of order. It cannot be the top of the priority list because also, again, like we'll never be satisfied with the way we look if it's the top because we're going to be like, wow, this is so fucking important. I need to get this perfectly. And we're never going to be perfect. We're never going to feel like we look perfect. There's always going to be something that we want to change. Looking good, glammed up or whatever, fresh face, whatever. That should be like a little bonus of the day. It should not be what makes or breaks the day. And I just wanted to say that because I felt like I just had a bit of a revelation the other day and I just felt like very free. And like, of course, I'm going to regress. I'm going to go back into feeling like, oh my God, like I'm ugly. Like, how are people going to perceive me? We are our worst critics, okay? And that is also really important to remember. The horrible stuff we're thinking about ourselves is the worst. No one is thinking anything similar, okay? They are all their own inner critics. Every single person you see on the street, every single person you talk to has their own inner critic. What we feel about ourselves, appearance-wise, will always be worse than what anyone else can think of us. And if people are gossiping behind our backs about how we look, oh my God, do you see Rita? She had that giant pimple on her face. Like, those people need more shit to do because, like, is that not the most boring thing to talk about? Like, someone else's appearance? I don't know. Like, I just think that that is so boring. It's so boring. It's so irrelevant to sit with friends and be like talking about someone's hair color. Like, I don't know that, like, where is the excitement in that? Where is the fun? Where is like the existential dread in those conversations? There isn't any. It's just completely like the most shallow conversation ever. What is it benefiting? Who's it benefiting? You know, the person can't even hear you. You know, if you're gossiping behind someone's back about their appearance, like, guess what? They can't even hear you. You're just spending your time talking about them. They have no idea. Okay. They have no idea. I know you think maybe everyone's listening to you, but like, they're not. Like, no one can hear you. No one can hear you. So you're just spending your precious time on this planet obsessing over someone else's looks. They don't even know that you're doing that. You know? You really need something else to do. You need something else to do. And I will say, just on that topic, like, if people are talking about you, it's because there's something that you have that they want. And I'm just going to say that with full, wholehearted confidence, because if I have ever found myself thinking about someone else, it is purely because I feel jealousy towards them and I kind of want something that they have. They have something I want, and I'm not accepting of it. I'm not accepting that they have something I want. I'm not saying, well, they're a different person. You know, we all have different things. I'm not being that person. I'm being this sort of self-obsessed person who sees someone who has something that I want or think I want, and then I'm putting them down to make myself feel better, because otherwise I'm like, wow, I want to be this person. And so in order to not feel that way, in order to not be like wanting to be someone else, I have to put them down. I have to make them feel bad, or at least I have to say bad stuff about them in order to make myself feel better. So I'm like, oof, okay, maybe they have that, but they have this too, and I don't want anything to do with that shit. You know what I mean? So I know from personal experience, like, people only talk about you if there's something you have that they want. I'm sorry. You know, that's just the fucking truth of it. That is the truth of it. That is the truth of it. Yeah. And it doesn't even have to be like, you know, they have something you want appearance wise. It doesn't always have to be about their appearance. But for some reason, in order for people to make themselves feel better about you having something that they want, no matter what it is, like career, family, whatever it may be, like, I feel like people jab at people's appearance all the time in order to make themselves feel better about whatever it is. It's interesting. I don't know. People feel like that's like the most hurtful thing, because it's just, we've like been trained in society to feel that way. Yeah, I had another point and now I can't remember what it was. We are our biggest critics. Everyone's followed around by their own inner critic. Like, everyone has those voices in their own heads, just to say. I think that's all I had to say. Did I have another point to that? I don't think so. I hope I like explained what an AA meeting is properly. Basically, an AA meeting is somewhere you go if you feel like you want to stop drinking or doing drugs, and you can sit and like talk to other people who also feel the same way about addiction. I don't know if I explained that properly at all. And it comes in many forms, you know, any kind of addiction, like there'll be a meeting that you can go to. But for me personally, I'm, you know, addicted to drugs and alcohol. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say. I'm sure I'm going to like stop recording and then be like, oh fuck, wait, I have to say that too. But I think that's, you know, the grand scheme of the whole thing is everything you're saying about yourself, no one else is thinking. You do not want to be on your deathbed and think of how much time you wasted being upset about silly things like your appearance. Okay? You have so much more to offer than the way you look. So much more. You know, that's why they always say, like, if you're like gonna go into a relationship, like, make sure you like more than just the way that person looks, because like that's not gonna be something that can keep you guys together. And there's a reason for that, you know? There's a reason for that. You gotta love people on a deeper level. I have definitely hung out with people because I thought they look cool, they dress cool, they look nice. And like the relationship falls pretty flat pretty fucking fast. Because, what are you going to do? Sit and talk about like how beautiful you are? No. Like you got to talk about deep shit. You got to talk about your feelings. You got to talk about like stuff that's affecting you. There's a family of crows that live on my house and they always are in cahoots about something. I don't know. But yeah, like there's just so much more to life and we got to experience it. We got to enjoy it. And I just want to say that because, I have to remind myself too. And I want to, I want to remind anyone else who is forgetting it because it's so easy to forget. Life is just so fun and big and exciting. And like so little of it is about the way you look. So little of it. And yeah, that's all I really had to say. I love you guys so much. I love you guys so much. You are a complex, interesting human being, very, very deep. Okay. This is just some sort of like shallow meat suit that we have to wear, but we just need it in order for us to, experience life. We kind of need it. And you should just be so thankful that you have one. Just be so thankful and grateful that you have one. Don't take it for granted. Be mean at it because it like produces pimples. So what? It's doing so much other cool stuff for you. Like your heart is beating 24/7. Even when you're sleeping, your heart is beating. Your lungs are breathing. Okay. Just be so grateful for all of that stuff. And don't worry if it like stresses out and it gets like a little pimple on your forehead. Like, so what? So what? Okay. We're just human beings. We're adapting. We're changing. Anyway, I love you guys so much. I have to go. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do. It's super helpful to me. And you can see anytime I post anything. So that would be really helpful. If you haven't subscribed yet, if you could definitely subscribe. If you like anything I talk about, tell your friends, tell your family, get them to subscribe as well if they so wish. But I love you guys so much and I will see you next time. Okay. I love you. Okay, love you. Bye. Bye.